Given our liquidity problems, sometimes we even in the past had to take overdrafts to buy raw materials.
While we're trying to work with the Ministry of Finance to get in these funds, we are also very much sensitive to the impact of our failures to produce some of these documents on time. The interest cost, like we all agree, is very high on the corporations, and with improved liquidity situations, this can actually be avoided in the past, and then we're working towards that.
At the end of it all, the fully compliant GPPC financial statement and activity report for the period under review was adopted by the PAG and PEC committees of the National Assembly. Mama J, GRTS.
Staff of the President's farm at Watna have kick-started the second phase of a major harvesting exercise. Wednesday's activity targeted the vast watermelon, plantain and banana plantations, which form part of an experiment conducted on a variety of produce cultivated by the President. Abdunjai spoke to Pa Bojang during the exercise.
I think this is what His Excellency, aim is to see that both dry and rainy season, Gambians will have, what they will eat, fresh, not like, being saying that, 1 year old. Okay, because if you look at most of the export that we export, sometimes we don't know how long it is. But if you look at the granite, you should have at least 3 weeks old granite.
Yeah, yeah.
And then, the maize also, if you go to the other side, you see it. So what is, his aim is, he wants, all the 12 months, whatever that Gambians need, let them have it in their own farms.
Oh.
Yes.
So meaning that still now we will have everything we need on our tables. Yes. 12 months on 24 months rounded.
24 months, yes.
Round the year.
Yeah, round the year, yes. We have whatever that we want.
It's very interesting.
Yeah.
That's quite a number of watermelons we have there. Is a whole heap. And they are still harvested. You can see them at the
harvested. And then, in fact, the other one is not yet. I mean, if you look at, this one in 2 weeks' time, you can harvest them also.
Yeah, yeah.
And then, if you look at this watermelon, if you go to the market, they will sell it at $125 or $100 is minimum. Yeah. So if you have 100 of this, that's you gain something.
So farming is economically beneficial. No matter what you do, there are no losses. Maybe if only, if your crop production fails.
Yeah, the crop production will be failed, because if you're telling people that you're going to the farm whilst you're going to somewhere else. This is why I said that farming is not like what the soldiers call high speed.
It's action.
No, it's action. Because if you're doing high speed, you don't go into the farm. At the end of the day, the farm will end up, people will know that what you are doing, you are not doing nothing.
It's not about eye service, it's doing it and then people seeing it.
Doing it and then people seeing it.
Well, story of the tour of the farm in Wadna, as well as those in Burfoot and Bijilo, should air in tomorrow's news bulletin, to be followed by highlights of the tour in our subsequent programs. Various government ministries and UN agencies Tuesday held the first ever consultative forum on social protection in the Gambia. The forum seeks to provide a platform for policymakers, researchers and civil society to explore future directions for designing and implementing inclusive and integrated social protection in the Gambia. Social protection, believed to be the reason why humans organize themselves in groups, give the phrase a wider meaning, given that through this setting humans have been able to mitigate risks they face individually. In community settings, social protection is pronounced in more avid terms, providing families with resources to secure basic needs during emergencies and times of economic adjustments. The first ever consultative forum on social protection in the Gambia provided a platform for policymakers, researchers, national and international development partners and the civil society to exchange knowledge, experiences, views and ideas on social protection systems in the Gambia. Though social protection interventions have long been well placed, what is different this time is the development of a comprehensive framework and strategy for the targeting and implementation of social protection support interventions.
Statistics in the Gambia indicate that poverty headcounts reduced from 58%
to 48% of our population over the past decade. This represents slightly under 1 million people. This high figure is partly due to the intergenerational transfer of poverty and the livelihood shocks that people suffer over prolonged periods of time. The majority of these are women in female-headed households, some of them widows, orphans, destitute children, internally displaced people, the unemployed youth, persons with disabilities, and the elderly. To tackle this problem, the government of the Gambia, under the wise leadership of His Excellency, Sheikh Professor Alhaji Dr. Yahya A.J.J. Jammeh, has been implementing the poverty reduction strategy and is now realizing the program for accelerated growth and employment.
The government of the Gambia is being hailed for recognizing social protection issues which are spelled out in successive medium-term plans as far as the first strategy for poverty alleviation. But strengthening it is more challenging now as the increasing scale of disasters and other occurrences presents a risk that is better managed by concerted efforts.
The fuel and food price hikes on the recent past, the poverty incidence as revealed by recent surveys, the financial crisis, and the crop failure are all stark reminders of the need to strengthen our resolve to minimize human suffering in situations of emergencies which affect the poor most, increasing inequality and excluding them from the benefits of growth. The need to improve our understanding of what all stakeholders in the social protection spectrum do, how they do it, and who they deal with is very important in coming up with innovative ways of coordinating all the efforts to maximize efficiency of resources used and impact.
Social protection, known to play a vital role in strengthening the resilience of children, families and communities, achieving greater equity and supporting national human and economic development. Its relevance is said to be heightened in the face of persistent inequalities. Anchored on that setting, the outcome of this forum is set to contribute to the ongoing mapping exercise of all social protection interventions in the country. For GRTS News, I am Aji Amisise. The Governor of West Coast Region, Alhaji Lamin Sane, would confer the Insignia Award to the following APRC-deserving militants on Saturday, 17th November 2012 at Kanan Multipurpose Center in Birkama at 10 a.m. Mr. Hassan Kamara, Sutusinjang Village, Foni Barafet; Mrs. Lisa Dabo, Sanyang Village, APRC Vice Chairman; Alhaji Junkun Kamara, Chief, Foni Barafet District; Alhaji Damba Sanyang, Paramount Chief of the Gambia; Mr. Dauda Jaju, Alkalo Kombo Karawan Kombo North; Mrs. Meta Jame, Lady Councillor Foni Kansala; Mr. Mudu Aliuba, businessman Foni Bondali; Mrs. Ramotolai Jaju, Lady Councillor Kombo East; Mrs. Aisutu Jivanga Jaju, Regional Women Mobilizer, West Coast Region; Fa'ansu Sane, Sibano Village, Foni Bentang; Alhaji Burama Seidi, Youth Mobilizer, Kombo East; Mr. Bala Musa Jabang, Birkama Kombo Central; Mrs. Aisutu Baji, Dobong Village, Foni Kansala; and Mr. Jere Bojang, Alkalo Manduar Village, Kombo Central. Management of the Department of Parks and Wildlife recently gathered stakeholders to launch the reviewed National Strategic Action Plan to address threats of the nation's biodiversity and to promote its sustainable use for national development. Louis Mendy reports the document is expected to advance strides in building a society which is in harmony with nature.
The Gambia is one of the 198 signatories to the Convention on Biological Diversity. The convention requires member countries to prepare a national biodiversity strategy or equal instrument to ensure it is mainstreamed into planning and activities of all sectors whose activities can have both positive and negative impacts on biodiversity, or in simple terms, life and other natural resources. Authorities at the Department of Parks and Wildlife Management, the leading government agency responsible for the implementation of the convention, recently gathered stakeholders to launch the reviewed National Strategic Action Plan after using the first version for a